Welcome back to my channel, guys. Really appreciate you being here. I'm so glad that I can interact with some of you on the comment section. I'm so glad I'm looking at myself that I'm really happy to share my thoughts and my experiences with my Seiko journey. So thank you all. Thank you again, no matter where you are, every single of my subscribers, every single person who viewed my video, there are 11,000 or more. I truly appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Now, today's topic is not going to be a particular review to a particular Seiko pieces. However, I do want to take the time out just to have a topic which I believe is really important, especially in this part of the journey where we have a limited amount of money that in our hands that we can spend on watches. But at the same time, we don't want to just waste those money on the watches that we will flip. We want to invest the money into the pieces that we believe will really have a long-term journey with, because watches are arts on your wrist, and I truly believe that. And now I do believe the three pieces right now I have on my palm, I think they speak a volume. They speak greatly towards that goal, and it's the watches that you're very familiar with. You'll probably have them already. If you do, well done. You've done really well. We're on the same page and appreciate you. If you on the fence, thinking about whether you should buy them, hopefully this video will shine a bit of more light on that particular topic. If you wanted to buy them, your heart is telling you to get them, but you are not willing to spend the level of money that those cost on brand new, or of course there's literally no brand new towards those two. There's only new stock for the flighty, that you're afraid of spending more money compared to what they used to be on the market. Hopefully my video will shine some light on that as well. This is the SKX 009J. This is the SARB 033, and this is the SNA Flighty 411. The SNA 411P Flighty. So a diver, an everyday sports dressy watch, and an aviation watch. So I guess that's a perfect harmony that will really cover all the style of watches here from a very collectible modern Seiko perspective. The approach that I believe why you should buy those, if you can find them at a price you can afford, is because they will always have its place in the brand and in the eyes of the watch hobbyist. The design, the dimension really speaks volumes to a great design. I mean, let's just go through them one by one. The SKX really needs no introduction. We have a case diameter, so from 8 to 2 o'clock position, about 42, just under 43, maybe 42 and a half. So this is a lot less in terms of sizes than the turtle reissue, for example, or the samurai. And as we all know, the SKS is legendary. It's been in the production for a very long time. The production stopped at 2018. Of course, as a brand, Seiko like to have a new strategy for the next decades or more. It's their right to do so, and they have to execute on it well. So I guess SKX was no longer part of that plan. Of course, you can't imagine those brand new watches still out there. If Seiko is still producing them with the 7S movements, selling for $250, $350, it will be significantly underpriced. So if you can find a used condition for the SKX 009, this is a J version. I believe you can find it for about $300 US. I think that's a great buy. Of course, you want to find the ones that are in good condition, such as this one. I bought it secondhand, really lucky to have it from the previous owner. He was the first owner of the watch. I bought it for 400 Australian dollars, compares to about 300 at the time US. As you see, the bracelet this is not a stock. The stock rubber that came with the watch, and this is actually is an unknown brand of bracelet. It's the oyster style with the solid end-link. Again, I don't know the brand of those two. However, I do know for the clasp, this is actually the clasp that came from my SARB 017, the strap called clasp, and I just find this clasp was too big for this type of watches. So I actually bought another strap clasp to replace on this Alpinist, and then took the clasp, and I think this is more suitable for the diver. So if you can find this particular piece around 300, I think that's a great buy, and I think you shouldn't really look into any other watches at that price, especially if you're planning on holding them for a long term. If you can get it for 300, you should definitely pull the trigger. Okay. The second watch in the middle is again the legendary Sarb 033. This is the black dial. This is on an Uncle Seiko Jubilee bracelet. It's a beautiful watch. I mean, there are so much coverage by Urban Gentry, by they're just, you know, all the well-known YouTube reviewers, and there's a cult following behind this piece. I think this model was starting to produce in the early 2000s, and the production stopped a few years ago. In terms of specs, really, I didn't talk about spec at all. This is a non-winding movement, the 7S, the very old movement. This is the 6R movement, which is very close to what we see nowadays with the 4R, that you can stop the second hand, you can hack, you can manual winding it. I truly believe they're just great mystery beauty of this watch. This Sarb 033 really is a perfect balance between sporty and dressy, and I think you will really enjoy them if you can find them around, I would say around 450, as in good condition, such as this one. I think that's a great buy. Again, I will probably do a detailed review on all those models in the future, but for now, this is just, I think those three pieces just speak volume in terms of what they're trying to accomplish. So this is the Sarb 033, 6R15 movement with sapphire crystal. This is Heartlex. And last one that we have on the table right now is the Flighty. This Flighty, of course, this is a quartz movement, as many of you already know. Urban Gentry, he did a fantastic video on this, I think 7 years back. Definitely contributed to the cult following that we right now have for those watches. You can go. I'm trying to link all these videos in my description. But I picked this up about 3 or 4 months ago, and I finally realized how great this piece is. The detail, how accurate the movement is. You've got alarm function. You've got 200 water resistant. This is great. The price of this for new stock already climb up, I reckon, at least 50% in the last 6 months. So if you can find this piece around 250, I think that's a great buy. Used conditions such as this one. Again, this watch came in a stock bracelet. Actually, the bracelet was not too bad, but but that bracelet had a middle link as polished. I didn't really like that polish part of things, so I bought a mesh bracelet, really cheap, bought from AliExpress for about 10 bucks. And it suits the watch really well. This is 19 millimeter lock width. So I just go back to the Sarb. So as we know, the dimension wise, this is, so let's just go back to the lock to lock. I'm sorry that I forgot to mention that. So this is about 42.5 in the dimension, and the lock to lock with this one is about 46.5 lock width for the SKX 009. And for the Sarb, the lock to lock is 44, just under 44, so 46, 44, and the lock to lock width of the Flight is about 42.7. So you can see how compact this wears on your wrist because of how the lock was constructed. So really beautiful pieces. I mean, I'm just gonna do a wrist shot on all of three, and then hopefully you will see how that wears on my 6 1/4, or actually about 7 inches wrist. Okay, the first one we go with the SKX. Really beautiful, really fun piece. As a diver, really comfortable. Really that vintage feel, and Pepsi bezel. This 009 is amazing. Absolutely loving it. I think you find many collectors that collects very expensive pieces. If you find in their watch boxes, you will often see the SKX taking a corner in that box. And this is the Sharp. Again, a lot more smaller, a lot more dressier. This is not a diver. It's got 100-meter water resistant, but it just suits really well. Imagine if you have a long sleeve that in an office environment, or you go to a party or going to an event, especially with this Uncle Jubilee bracelet. I really do believe it's an amazing piece. And the last one I would like to try on for you guys is the Flighty. There you go. So you can tell that short lug to lug already changed the dynamic of the watch. You really, toolish watch. It looks amazing. That contrast between the black and the yellow. Second hand, of course, is not moving because it's the chronograph. Amazing piece, a very vintage feeling. That dome crystal, it just tremendous design. So those three watches really speaks volume in terms of what it's trying to achieve, and I think they are really the gem, really hidden gem in your watch collecting journal. So if you're having those already, congrats, well done. I'm really happy that having those watches. But if you don't, look into it. If you don't, look into it. Now, if you're on the fence about buying them, guys, don't think. Going to your eBay listing, going to your Facebook local marketplaces, going to your local Facebook forums or internet forums. I'm just gonna talk about the prices that I think you should invest them straight away. Again, $250 if you can find this around $250. If you can find this around $300, this one for about $450. Of course, this legendary Alpinist, if you can find this between $450 to $500. I actually paid $720 for almost brand new condition for this. I'm not sorry at all, guys. Look, it's very common to imagine that yourself overspending on a watch, but if you're asking yourself the question, you're already overspending on a lot of things in your life. I mean, when was the last time you took your family out, took your friends out for a restaurant that you paid for $100 that you didn't think it was worth it? For watches, if you're overpaying $50, $100, $150, do not concern about it, because the watches such as this, they will have a great supply and demand ratio, because the Seiko as a brand, they're not producing them anymore. And if you can keep those watches in a great condition in the next 5 to 10 years, of course, many other watches will appreciate at the same time. But for those pieces, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they retain their value really well, if not appreciating even more in the next 5 to 10 years, okay? So hope you're wearing all your pieces in good health, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for your time. Bye for now.